I'm writing a chess program for my Kindle in Common Lisp. I have never written a graphical application before, nor have I done anything with Common Lisp. Chess on Kindle already exists. Why Lisp? Why not Scheme or a better Lisp? Because I found a book on Common Lisp first and I'm already halfway through.
I could vibe code this in a minute with an LLM.
Fuck you, we're doing this to learn. I'm not going to pay money so that I can not learn. Speaking of learning, there's a lot of learning to do. This Kindle is jailbroken, I can install whatever I want on it. However, the version of GTK that it comes with is ancient. GTK is a library that is used for drawing graphical applications. There are a few. To my knowledge, GTK 2 is the only one that is on this Kindle. And if I wanted to do something else with it, I would need to build it for the Kindle, which is on ARM, and I don't feel like messing with that right now. I also spent some time reading some of the existing chess applications for Kindle. Most notably, GL Chess, the GNOME Chess version, or the GNOME Chess from 2011 or something, was ported to Kindle by someone named Crazy Electron. It's not written in Common Lisp, it's not going to be that much help, but I also haven't used GTK before, and it was kind of helpful to figure out how a GTK application works. Finally, I spent another few hours rendering a chessboard. I started with using the Cairo library directly. Cairo is what GTK uses for drawing graphics. You instruct Cairo what strokes to make and where to make them, and then GTK would put that inside a window that you can add other things to. To start with, I just did something with Cairo and had it rendered to a PDF that I could look at. It seemed the most straightforward. By the way, the library for Cairo binding so that you can use Cairo from within Common Lisp is also quite ancient, and I was following a tutorial from 2009. Thanks, Tomas. Once I got something rendering, I next got a chessboard working, and then I stuck it in a GTK window. Next, it came time to render the pieces. Now here's the problem. Because I'm lazy and not an artist, for now I'm just stealing the icons from GNOME Chess. The problem is, they're SVG files, and it takes another library to render an SVG within a Cairo drawing. I don't want to fucking mess with another dependency thing, so this is where I did have an LLM come in. SVG files are really just instructions for how to draw an image, and the instructions are in plain text. This is what the file looks like if you actually open it up in a text editor. LLMs are pretty good at translating things between one language and another. So I asked Claude to translate each SVG file for a piece into a series of instructions for Cairo, using the Cairo CL Lisp library. And now these are just functions that I can call from within my code instead of having to deal with yet another library. It worked pretty decently. I'll need to figure out the outlines around the black pieces, or see what GL Chess did for that, but not a bad start. So what's coming next? First, we gotta figure out how we're representing the actual game of chess. Like, what position are we in? What has happened up to this point? Next, we need to be able to render those pieces in the correct size and placement on the board based on our game state. We're not gonna implement all of the game logic first. First, we're gonna say, hey, take a position, maybe I'm hard coding it, and then render it on the screen. After that, I'll need to figure out how to register clicks. This might be 5 minutes of work, it might be 5 hours, I have no idea. Once we can register clicks and have a way of representing game state, the next step will of course be to put those two things together and get something I can actually play. All of this is happening locally. I'll figure out how to get it on my Kindle later. That's the status update. If you have any questions, concerns, compliments, criticisms, I would love to hear them in the comments. Especially if I'm like doing something horribly wrong, or there's something that you want me to ramble more about. Yeah, see you next time.